Happy Friday. My name is Thor, and today I'm going to be answering all of your questions about campsites and camping in Iceland. So let's dive right in. So I'm wrapping up this really long 15-chapter ultimate guide on campsites in Iceland. And for the sake of not creating an hour-long video, today I'm going to be focusing on your most commonly asked questions about campsites in Iceland. I get these questions from hundreds of customers that come through our Happy Camper stores every year, but also our camping community on Facebook, where we have over 3,200 people now, like you, that are interested in camping in Iceland. So if you're not there already, hop on over there and join our little group. So let's dive right into question number one, and that is, where do I find information on all the campsites in Iceland? There are almost 200 campsites in Iceland, and not all of them keep a website or up-to-date information. So what did we do? We created the guide, but we also created a map that has almost 200 campsites and information and photos on every single campsite in Iceland. And that's your go-to place to find information about campsites in Iceland. There are some other websites where you can find good information. Tjalda.is is one of them. It's probably the oldest one, but it definitely doesn't have all the campsites, and it seems a bit outdated by now. All right, question number two. Can I camp anywhere I want? The short answer is no. The law was actually changed back in 2015, and now if you're driving a camper van, RV, if you have a pop-up camper, trailer, anything like that, you have to be spending the night at a designated campsite. No exceptions. But what if you're using a regular tent? There are some exceptions if you're using a regular tent, although my advice is always to just follow those laws. The locals usually frown upon wild camping, so just to be safe, and unless you want to go down that rabbit hole of understanding the camping laws exactly, you can hop onto the guide that's on the Happy Campers website if you want to know the details of some possible exceptions. But general rule of thumb, no, you cannot camp anywhere you want. You have to stay within the campsites. Question number three, do you need to book a campsite in advance? And that's another simple answer. No, not only do you not have to, but in most cases you simply can't. There are some campsites that allow you to book in advance, and there's an app called parka.is that you can check out. It has 15 to 20 campsites where you can book in advance, but that's definitely the exception to the rule. It's very rare that you'll come across a fully, packed campsite. Usually you can just roll right in and set up camp. Question number four, how much does camping cost in Iceland? And are there any free options? On average, you can expect to budget around $10 to $15 per person per night at campsites in Iceland. It varies pretty significantly between campsites. It depends on the type of facilities they provide. Some of them have facilities included, like a shower. Some of them don't. They charge extra for it. But $10 to $15 per person per night, I would say, in my experience, is the average. There are maybe a couple of free options, like Gata free camping campsite, where you can camp for free all year round. During winter travel, you'll find more options of where you can maybe camp on closed campsites for free without any facilities, but more about that later. All right, question number five. How do I pay at campsites? And that's pretty straightforward as well. 99% of cases, you can just use your credit card or debit card, and that's not going to be an issue at all. Bring some currency and coins with you just in case, because at some places you'll need coins to get access to showers or laundry facilities, things like that. When you pay, however, can vary significantly between campsites. Some will have you pay right at the gate when you enter, any time of the day. Others will have operating hours. Others will use the honor system. Some will have employees that come to you once you set up. So just look for signs on how to pay and follow those instructions. Question number 6, can I show up at the campsite anytime I want? And yes, that's the beauty of traveling in a camper van or with a tent. You can basically take advantage of the spontaneity. Travel as long as you want, pop into the campsite any time of day or night, and it's not a problem. Again, look for signs that tell you when to pay and how to pay, but also just make sure that you're being extra quiet. You don't want to be disturbing the people that are already asleep. So if something can wait until the morning, for example, just do it then. But yeah, you can definitely show up anytime you want. Question number 7, is it true that campsites close during wintertime? Yes and no. It's true that most campsites are only open from approximately May 15th to September 15th, but that doesn't mean that all of them close during wintertime. There are dozens of campsites that are open all year round, and you can see in our guide or using our Happy Campers campsite map, you can just select the winter campsites to see which ones are open all year round, and they are maybe a couple of dozen options that you have there. And then you have the hybrid campsites, what we call, and these campsites have extended opening periods, so they might be open from April through December, April through late October, or all year round but with no facilities. And speaking of closed campsites, question number 8, can I stay at closed campsites during the wintertime? And the answer to that is usually. What you need to be doing is looking out for signs that explain if you can stay there or not when it's closed. A lot of campsites will allow you to stay there using no facilities for free. Some of them will ask you to pay using the honor system, etc. And my advice is always to look it up online in advance. They might have more information there. But if you don't see any signs that tell you that you need to be paying, it's usually all right to assume that you can. This, of course, is also assuming that there isn't an open winter campsite nearby. If that's the case, go over there and use that campsite. Okay, question number 9. Do I need to plan my route and my campsites in advance? And as you might have already guessed, the answer to that is no. That's the beauty of campervan or camping travel, is that you can be spontaneous. You don't have to book in advance. It's highly unlikely that the campsite is going to be full, and you can arrive anytime you want. We've already talked about that. So take advantage of that and don't spend too much time planning exactly where you're going to be ending every single day of your trip. It doesn't hurt doing some preparations, of course, but I wouldn't say that it's necessary. Question number 10, and probably the most commonly asked question that we get all the time, and that is, what is your favorite campsite, or what is the best campsite in Iceland? This one definitely comes down to personal preferences, and it's pretty difficult to answer, but here are my favorite campsites. Thakil is a beautiful campsite. We've actually written about it on our blog, so hop on over there if you want more details. Ísafjörður, Akranes, Flókalundur. A lot of people mention the Skógar campsite simply because it's right in front of the Skógafoss waterfall. A couple of people at the Happy Campers team, they mentioned Hallormsstaðaskógur. It's in the east and it's located in one of the few forested areas in Iceland. It's a beautiful campsite. The most mentioned campsite in the north is probably Hamrar in Akureyri. It's a great campsite, especially if you have kids, so many playgrounds, and it's located in a beautiful area. Hamragarðar is located by the Seljalandsfoss waterfall. And finally, I have to mention the Happy Campers campsite. We actually haven't launched it yet, but we are in the middle of creating our very own campsite here at our Happy Campers headquarters in Keflavik. So look out for that in 2021. All right, guys, that's it for today's Happy Friday video. Those were your top 10 most commonly asked questions about campsites and camping in Iceland. If you have more questions, hop over to the comment section and we'll answer your questions there. And I'll see you next Friday.